Kia ora and welcome back to the CouchSide Sports Report, hosted by the CouchSide Network. Myself, Dylan. This is Simon. This is episode 27.
Whoa.
27.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. We're almost at 30.
We're almost at the 30th.
And not just in age, but in episodes.
I know. Well, don't remind me. I don't want to be reminded.
No, I can't lie. It's actually, shout out to Gabrielle. I love you. It's her birthday this coming Sunday.
Oh, you scared me. I thought it was today. I was like, oh, don't tell me.
No, it's the 7th of September.
So that's why she wanted to go out for dinner.
No, the reason we actually wanted to go out for dinner is because you originally organised it in the first place, and we couldn't do it. That's also another part of it. But yeah, so her birthday's on September the 7th, and she thinks she's really old, turning 26.
No.
So I keep saying 26, and she gets really pissed off, and it's quite funny. So.
At least it's not 6'7". But welcome back to the CouchSide Sports Report. And we've got a bit to talk about today.
We do.
But I don't think it's going to be... Everything's going to be super intensive, which is good. We're going to run through a lot of things. We're going to keep you up to date on all things rugby, football, league, whatever we've got written down here. F1's back, another WWE pay-per-view, and just so much more randomness that you're used to us.
As you just heard.
Used from us. But if you haven't already, do chuck a like on this video on YouTube or a favorite on Spotify. And if you haven't followed us anywhere, please do so. Linktree has all the links.
And before we get into it, I just want to say big shout out and thank you to you guys watching, because I'm sure you got this notification. We officially hit a total of 250 plays on Spotify.
Well, I did not see that, but thank you so much for that.
So thank you so much. It may seem like a small, because that's total
plays. But after
plays,
26 episodes, and I think that's still a significant amount of people listening to the whole podcast.
It's a big thing for us. So
it's massive.
So thank you guys. Thank you. So yeah, speaking of that, shall we get into something that was also very positive, starting the Aotearoa sport with the Women's Rugby World Cup?
Yeah, I think it's worth travelling over to England for the Black Ferns' second game of the group stage of this 2025 Rugby World Cup.
You almost forget the year?
I almost forgot the year. But the Black Ferns up against Japan, not a bad side by any means, but a side that New Zealand would always be expecting to comfortably beat, and that's what they did today. 62-19, the final score.
Yes, sir. Some
key points, both the first two from two of the youngest players on the pitch. Braxton Sorensen-McGee, only 18 years old, scores a hat-trick from fullback. I think it's a bit unfair when we've got some of our outside backs on the older side of 30 and looking like they'll be winding down soon, still playing very well. And then we managed to bring in someone who's only 18 years old, straight out of high school, who's able to hang with everyone and score a hat-trick at a World Cup. Who cares if it's against Japan? It's still an immense performance.
Absolutely.
And then only a couple of years older than her and already an established 7-star, Georgia Miller, her third try of the tournament in just 2 games, playing at blindside, not open side, but still looking like $1 million in that position. I think it's a bit unfair when you have those two for at least the next 10 years, if not longer. Because there's always the possibility in the women's game that they do go off the league at some stage, or they still spend time on the 7th circuit, or whatever opportunities. I would be very surprised if neither of those players do go to the NRLW in the future. I know Braxton has played league growing up.
Yep.
I think any NRLW team will see what Georgia Miller can just do in general and go like, yeah, we could use her in league in a multitude of positions.
Big facts.
So I think the opportunity's there. But right now, New Zealand Rugby, keep them, develop them, because of this, it's the beginning of a great young core.
Yeah, it is.
Brilliant young back, brilliant young forward, and to someone who's way more established. Portia Woodman-Wycliffe has become New Zealand Rugby's all-time leading try scorer with 50, which is nuts, considering that she hasn't been completely full-time. She spent time on the 7th circuit. The women's game has come a long way since she debuted in terms of how regular games are and how the games are structured and how there's actual tournaments every year now. Like, that really wasn't the case quite a while ago when Portia was starting. So she overtakes Doug Hallett, who was on 49 tries. And a lot of people are going to say, oh, it doesn't count because it's not with the All Blacks. If you look at the list, she's the only Black Fern there.
Yes.
It's not like there's other Black Fern players who are also well up in this list of all-time try scorers for New Zealand. She's the only one on the one New Zealand Rugby put up today. It was all the men's players. And then you have Portia Woodman-Wycliffe at the beginning. Well, at the top, I should say.
Yeah.
And I think that just proves to me, no, this isn't a token award or anything or statement. She is the leading try scorer, and it's deserved. I was talking with a friend of mine, and he was the same. He's like, you can't try to say it's not an achievement, because clearly it is. Because if it was an achievement, how come no one else has already done it?
Yeah, exactly.
So I rest my case.
And also in a interview after this game, Ruahi Damant, who's one of the co-captains of the Black Ferns, actually compared Portia Woodman Wycliffe to being the Jonah Lomu of women's rugby, and she is absolutely right. The only argument you could have in terms of influence is, of course, Alona Ma has a massive following and is the most followed person anything in rugby, and it's not even close.
Yeah.
But if we're talking about on the field, although Alona Ma is great on the field, especially on the 7 circuit, I actually think she's played in a little bit of the wrong position when playing 15s, but that's another conversation. But on the field, it's Portia, man. Portia's literally a Jonah Lomu of women's rugby players, and to be fair, in the women's game, might actually be faster. So
comparatively, you might. Although Lomu was quick for his, just in general,
tough,
not just for his size, he was just quick in general.
Yes,
like he could have been a sprinter for New Zealand and not looked at the place.
I think if we're talking physically though, and yes, Portia's smaller, it's different, but I don't think Lomu in the men's game had the lateral quickness that Portia Woodman Wycliffe has in the women's game.
Yes.
That's probably a difference there. But if you want to say a woman's Jonah Lomu, it's Portia Woodman.
Yeah.
And she's insane.
And in terms of longevity, she's done, unfortunately, obviously for Jonah, his kidneys didn't help him in this case, unfortunately. But she's obviously proven long-term that she can be a super reliable try scorer and just player in general for the Black Ferns. But yeah, I think that's a fair comparison. And also the ability to be able to fill in at centre. I'm sure she's played fullback before as well.
Yep.
Just being able to be plugged anywhere in the back line and deliver. It's not easy to do that in any version of the game.
She's just her, bro.
Oh, yeah.
That's the only way to put it.
I think you'd have to say it.
Yeah, she's just her.
And hopefully the tries will keep coming as we face Ireland this coming Monday, the 8th of September at 1:45 a.m. Another early wake up. I'm hoping with the playoff games that they're a bit later in the day, but we'll see when the draw comes out for the quarters, semis, and the final. The game against Ireland will determine first and second. Ireland also defeated Japan and also defeated Spain. So we'll be to see who tops that group. But we'll come to the rest of the Women's Rugby World Cup games in a moment as we move on to the National Rugby League.
Yes, sir.
Where it was the penultimate week of the regular season. Some big games here and some big...
Is it penultimate means second to last day? Okay, I'm just double checking. See, this is how good I am in English, people. This is why I talk.
I'm not that much better than you, mate. But it did mean penultimate. It's some changes to the table, affecting the NZ Warriors as well.
Infecting and affecting the Warriors.
Unfortunately, but the Panthers rested basically their entire first grade side to roll out their New South Wales Cup team against the Bulldogs with a playoff spot already confirmed, but it could have been higher. They get smacked 29-4. This ended up meaning the New South Wales Cup team lost and fell down the table, and the Jersey Flegg team losing and falling down the table. So a bit of a knock by knock effect here for the Panthers.
But I guess for the Panthers, we can't really argue with the strategy because they're 4-time straight champs.
Exactly.
So.
And we could be here back in a month swearing because they've won another title.
Yes.
But moving on, the Warriors, unfortunately, at home, going down 22-26 to the Eels. There was a very controversial bunker no try call. One that the Warriors have actually said publicly they're genuinely going to ask questions because they haven't gone that far before. It does seem to happen to the Warriors all the time, even if they weren't playing well.
This is about the knock-on, eh?
About the knock-on, which supposedly didn't happen. But it wasn't a great performance regardless of that. A lot of players were a bit quiet when they should have been roaring. Thankfully for the Warriors, this wasn't to secure a playoff spot. They're already in the playoffs, but it was important we win this game to cement top 4. We'll talk about those implications later. The Storm get absolutely destroyed by the Roosters, 10-40, which effectively gave the Raiders the minor premiership after they defeated the Tigers 24-10. We said at the beginning of the season, I think probably the first ever episode of this podcast, that the Raiders were probably going to be one of the worst teams in the NRL.
Yeah, we got wrong.
And we have, they're laughing in our faces, minor premiers.
Yes, as they should.
I think most Warriors fans can feel a little bit relieved after that round 1 loss where we got dicked by the Raiders in Vegas, that they did end up becoming minor premiers and we're still a playoff team, so we can't really complain too much. But the Dragons go down 24-40 to the Sea Eagles, which leaves them with a very slim mathematical chance of making the 8. The Cowboys losing to the Broncos 30-38, meaning the Broncos overtake the Warriors, and the Sharks defeat the Knights 40-16, meaning they also overtook the Warriors, and the Dolphins get a 36-30 win over the Titans to keep their playoff hopes alive as well.
Yeah.
So, I'll do this as quickly as I can. The Warriors are 6th, but they need to beat the Sea Eagles, who are 10th, and have the Broncos, who are currently 4th, and the Sharks, who are currently 5th, to lose the Broncos, sorry, I'll read it out a bit better. The Broncos need to lose to the second place Storm at home, which is very much possible, but the Storm may rest all their players because second for them is all but confirmed. And the Bulldogs are facing the Sharks, so they're 3rd. So I think the Sharks are away to the Bulldogs, so that will be a very big game. The Bulldogs' 3rd is also secure for them. So the Sharks might also get to face a weakened Bulldogs team. So the Bulldogs and the Sharks will, because the Warriors have done this before, they'll send out a weaker team in the last game of the season because their playoff space is confirmed, even if... at least in the case of the Storm, they won't have a game next week. I don't know if I got that right. Who knows? So it's a tough ask. The Warriors, I think, have all what it takes to beat the Sea Eagles. It's an away game, but we are a better team on paper.
Yeah.
Although the Sea Eagles do have some great players. But honestly, the Sharks can beat the Broncos and, sorry, I've got that around the wrong way.
Sharks can beat the Bulldogs?
The Sharks can beat the Bulldogs and the Broncos can beat the Storm. Can lose, I should say, to both teams. I'm hoping the Storm still have a very... I think the Storm one's probably... I don't know. It's hard to tell because you don't know what teams the Storm and the Bulldogs are going to name. If they're naming close to full-strength teams, then absolutely, I think there's a shot. But if they're naming weakened teams because their places in the league are already confirmed, then maybe not. That'd be annoying from a Warriors point of view. But the Warriors can't finish lower than 6th. So 6th is confirmed no matter what.
That's not the worst in the world.
And if we finish 5th, it's better than 6th. So
True.
We'll take it. But as we said, the Raiders are minor premiers. The top 3 of the Raiders, Storm, and Bulldogs is basically set. I think there's a mathematical chance the Bulldogs can overtake the Storm, but that's only if they lose by 90 points or some shit. That's not happening to the Storm. The Panthers, so they will be either 7th or 8th. They cannot finish lower than 8th. They're in the 8th. The Roosters are 8th currently. They're 2 points ahead of both the Dolphins and the Sea Eagles, and they have better point difference against both teams. The Roosters do face the Rabbitohs at home. They're not great, so they'll be very favoured to win this game and cement 8th. The Dolphins have to host the number 1 Raiders and would require a massive win over those Raiders and the Roosters to probably lose by a decent margin to leapfrog them. So it's probably not super likely that the Dolphins do make the 8, despite the fact they've been an awesome attacking team this year. I think losing some players like Herbie Farnworth definitely hurt, and also, despite being a very good goal-scoring and point-scoring team, sometimes the defense was a little bit suspect. And then the Sea Eagles, they're 80 points off the Roosters on point difference, so it's very unlikely they jump them. The chance is there, though, but it's a mathematical chance, and it's very slim.
If the Sea Eagles beat us by 80 points...
Yeah. And they also need the Dolphins to lose as well.
Shit.
Well, maybe not, because I think the Sea Eagles might have better point. I don't actually know off the top of my head. But then the only other implication worth looking at is wooden spoon, because that can change. The Titans host the Tigers, that's 17th versus 11th, and the Eels host the Knights, that's 16th versus 12th. That will determine the wooden spoon. If the Titans do have a better point difference than the Knights. So if they beat the Tigers and the Eels lose to the Knights, then they will leapfrog the Eels and avoid the spoon, and the Eels will unfortunately be given the wooden spoon.
There we go.
So the only important matches for next week, we won't say all of them. The Warriors away to the Sea Eagles. I think that's on Saturday. You have the Broncos facing the Storm, the Shark facing the Bulldogs, the Raiders facing the Dolphins, and the Roosters taking on the Rabbitohs. So those are the games to look out for. Any other game, if you're interested in the wooden spoon battle, then yeah, sure, check out Titans, Tigers, and Eagles, Knights. And I think that's probably most of the teams involved. So that's all fun and games.
There you go.
So it'll be very interesting to see how the last round of regular season works, see what the finals matchups are, because that'll be a lot of fun. If the table was where it's at right now, then you would have the Raiders taking on the, if I get this correctly, the Broncos. You will have the Storm facing the Bulldogs, and then the Sharks would face the Roosters, and the Warriors would get to face the Panthers.
Fantastic.
At home, may I add. At home. So,
bro, we just lost to the Eels at home.
Exactly, but it is a home. It is a home final game.
Yeah, true.
And so if we win that, we'd face the losers, or one of the losers of the games between the top two. So if you just take it by position on the table right now, it'd be one of the Bulldogs or the Broncos away from home. Win that game, and then preliminary final. That's actually a big deal. But any playoff game is a big deal, especially for this Warriors team battling so many injuries this year, issues with players not playing as good as they should be, or being played out of position, or not being able to play cohesively together. Still,
it's been a
miracle that they finished top 6 with no Lukey Met and no Mitch Barnett for a lot of that season, and key players like Dallin and Roger and Fish out for various points of the season as well.
True.
So I commend, this has been a great Warriors season. It was really a season where anyone could finish at the top and anyone could still win it. The Raiders have obviously claimed the first piece of silverware. Let's see if they can do it again. Because I don't think we've won a title since the 90s. So good luck to them, but obviously more luck to...
Come on, the Wars, baby!
Come on, the Wars.
Yeah.
As we move to the NRLW, which, once again, the Warriors unfortunately didn't get the win, 26-18, but they've also been battling from injury and also pregnancy, so they haven't... You didn't need to laugh at that.
No, it's just because I know what you mean, and people are going to say that they're battling pregnancy.
I don't mean battling injuries, and then also
Michaela Breaker's pregnant.
Exactly. So unfortunately, went down 26-18 to the Dragons. I mean, they were trying to sign someone, I think, from the Broncos, and the NRL basically told them to get stuffed, or from another team because they were so low on players because of injuries. I know they've signed a couple of youngsters to put in the team just to end the season. But like I've said about this Warriors team, as long as they're not losing by the biggest margin of a round, I don't think that's that bad. And once again, that was the case. They only lost by 8 to the Dragons. The Roosters went on and beat the Cowboys 30-0, and the Bulldogs lost to the Broncos 44-0. So, in comparison...
Our losses, like you say, are better.
We haven't had a blowout loss yet. The Raiders beat the Tigers 17-16. There was another 1-point game with the Sharks beating the Knights 19-18, and the Titans beat the Eels 26-10. There's 2 rounds to go. The Roosters are still undefeated, somehow. The Broncos only 2 points behind. Sharks and Cowboys are 3rd and 4th, separated by points difference. The Knights are 5th. And the Titans are 6th. The Warriors are 3 points behind the Titans in 7th. If they want to make the playoffs, which is the top 6, they would have to beat the Broncos at home on Sunday, who is 2nd. And then the currently bottom place, Tigers, who are 12th, away next Sunday afternoon. But they would need the Titans to lose to both the Knights, who are a place above them, and the Raiders, who are a couple of places behind them. So...
Yeah. It's going to be a hard ask.
But even if they don't make playoffs, I wouldn't say it was a failure of a season because it's the first year back.
And it's what, 6 years?
Yeah, 5-6 years, and you can't really say they're back because it's not the same team, it's not the same coaching staff, it's not the same anything. 5 years away, it's not going to be the same team. So I think it's still a brilliant effort in dealing with the injuries as well, and with a star player being ruled out unexpectedly. I think it's still a great year, and it's going to build a very good foundation heading into next year.
Is it, I forget her name, but I know she's playing super well at the moment. Is it Taki Moana?
Yes, I think.
She looks mean.
Yeah, and obviously, shout out to, what's her face in the halves? Name is escaping me.
Are you talking about the one that used to play rugby?
Yes.
Patricia Maliep?
Yes, she's been excellent as well.
There you go.
And there's so many young guns on that team as well, who, for league and for New Zealand Rugby League, they're going to be very, very... key players.
So hopefully it's just continuing to build that foundation.
Yeah, and to give more Kiwi in rugby league players the opportunity to play the highest level, because NRLW clearly is the place to be if you're a women's rugby league player.
And speaking of foundation, one of the foundation rugby competitions here is the NPC.
It sure is.
Which we are going to move on to, and I've got us for this one.
I'm
going to run through
That's
it.
all good. You can do this one and the next one, and I'll come back.
Say less
for the other ones. But
Say
I will
less.
interject.
That's completely fine.
I will interject.
So that's what we're here for. So NPC, they had games over the weekend. First one, North Harbour at home went down to the Bay of Plenty, 19-7. Canterbury, huge win over Manawatu, 53-14. Counties Manukau at home lost big time to Taranaki, 22-43. Northland take the close win against Hawke's Bay, 27-22.
Decent team, Hawke's Bay.
And then another close one, a little bit of a South Island classic between the teams that I think are third and fourth at the moment in the competition. Tasman take the win at home, 31-27 against Otago. Unfortunately, Auckland continue to lose.
Yeah.
They lost to Wellington 36-17, although Caleb Clark did score a try.
A bit better than the previous weeks, though, and Caleb Tangito also looked pretty good.
Yes, and then the biggest game of this weekend, Waikato's first defence of the Ranfurly Shield after winning it last week against Southland, and it did not go very well. Southland get the Ranfurly Shield after God knows how many years.
14.
There you go. 25, winning the game 25-10. But big wins. But I want to talk about the big win for Canterbury because it has a big part of something else we'll talk about later on, as in a Mr. Sam Darry, who was playing for Canterbury. But Canterbury look really good at the moment. And funnily enough, Southland's first Shield defence, which is next week, happens to be against Canterbury.
Yeah, but we need them to win this one, and then we need them to beat Counties in what will be the defence afterwards, because then Southland face Auckland. And wouldn't it be so funny if Southland lose to Auckland in what would be Auckland's first win of the season, and they win the Ranfurly Shield? I think that would just be really funny as an Auckland fan.
Because it would be fun for everybody else in Auckland.
Yeah, because no one will think it's hilarious except us.
Yes.
And I think it would be the most Auckland way at this point to win the Shield.
Yeah, that's very true.
But Auckland have to face Tasman next week, which probably not going to be a close game.
But something else we'll talk about, Tasman won't have Leicester Whanganuku. Yes. Something we'll talk about later.
Ooh, big news. And then also Taranaki versus Bay of Plenty. Looks like it can be a good game. Counties playing North Harbour as well as the Auckland Classic. You want to move on to the Farah Palmer Cup, mate?
Of course, mate. So the first game was the North Harbour Hibiscus versus the Northland Cody at North Harbour Stadium.
Would you call that a Northern Classic?
I would call that a Northern Classic.
Yeah.
And Northland take the win, 39-29. The Counties Manukau Heat go and smack the Hawke's Bay Tui, 65-14. The Manawatu Cyclones win a close one against the Auckland Storm, 22-21, down in Palmerston North. And then Tasman, they played the Otago Spirit and got hammered at home, 48-14 by Otago. And speaking of hammering, the Wellington Pride took on the Taranaki Fio and won 76-0.
That's nuts.
So there you go. And then Waikato beat Canterbury 28-17. And there's your Farah Palmer Cup. Unlucky for Auckland there, mate.
Unlucky, but they're still a good team. I think they're still near the top of the table and still a lot of the season to go. So
very true.
Not going to stress out too much as we move on to the Australia Cup and the All Whites. Unfortunately for Auckland FC, they fall victim to the giant killers of Heidelberg United 2-0 in the Australia Cup semi-finals.
Yes.
It seems like Auckland can't win a semi, it looks like. But Heidelberg obviously defeated Wellington a long way in another A-League team. I think it was the victory on the way to this win. 2 late goals. Still preseason for Auckland. It's not a game to be very concerned about. 2 late goals. It's still preseason. Heidelberg have also beat 2 other A-League teams already. Obviously not great to lose to them. It would have been nice to make the cup final. Heidelberg will face Newcastle and will probably think they have a decent shot at winning it.
Yep.
But you know what? It was a good effort for the first time in the Australia Cup. There will be more opportunities in the coming years. But congrats to Heidelberg for making a final. It's always great to see local teams do it, although unfortunately the last local team to do well in this competition spoiled it for everyone by deciding they wanted to be, let's just say, imitate a certain dictator from World War II in the crowd. So I won't say the name and I won't say what But you get what I mean. It was a very big deal. And,
that's bad.
And somehow only a little bit of justice was served.
That's bad and very Australia.
Unfortunately. Well, I wouldn't say that's an Australian
no, I can't
thing.
say that.
I wouldn't say that.
No, shout out to my Australians unless we're playing sport against each other.
Yeah. But the All Whites, funnily enough, do play Australia this Friday and next Tuesday. They're in Canberra on Friday night, 9:45 p.m. kickoff, and they're back at Mount Smart next week, Tuesday at 7 p.m. I will be at that game.
And I will be away.
Unfortunately. But the squad has been announced, standard squad, no Matt Garbutt because he hadn't really been training. He's now with Peterborough United, so it's fine. In terms of a brief Kiwi roundup, Alex Paulsen's in Poland, forgot what the team is, played his first game this morning, lost 2-0, but I think they were a very good team, and he did as well as he could. Marko Stamanic is wooing everyone at Swansea. They think they found the next Sergio Busquets, so you're going to make a lot of money off him.
The New Zealand Busquets, the Aotearoa Busquets, is it?
I'll take that. Well, technically, the Serbian Samoan Busquets.
This is a good point.
/ Kiwi. And then Liberati Kakache at Wrexham played in midfield this morning against Millwall, which obviously I think he can do the job.
Central midfield?
Yes.
Oh, well, there you go.
I think he could do the job there. I think he's a very technical player.
Definitely.
But the All Whites, they did have to remove Liberati Kakache and Alex Paulsen from the squad. Kakache did have a small little injury. He's back from it, but they just didn't want to risk it. And Alex Paulsen obviously just arrived in Poland, just got the move done. No point coming all the way back. So in comes 20-year-old Henry Gray, who's at Ipswich. He's spent time on loan at a couple of teams in the lower leagues of England. Very promising keeper, looks very good. Experience with the youth teams. Definitely one to watch. Hopefully he gets a move at some point in the season where he plays more regularly. And this is a big one, as we had already named 2 left backs and 2 right backs in the team. They didn't replace Kakache with another defender. They replaced him with 17-year-old winger Luke Brooksmith, the Wellington Phoenix. Undeniable that this guy has potential, and undeniable he's an A-League quality player already at 17. He played a lot of games last year. He's been very hyped. Originally from up north, moved down to Cambridge to go to St. Peter's to be a BMX rider. Ended up sticking with football and moved down to Wellington only about a year or a bit ago after briefly playing for
good on
Cambridge, maybe Hamilton Wanderers. After that, I'm not sure. But Luke Brooksmith, great call up. If he plays in either game, he'll be the youngest All White of all time, beating Chris Wood's record from how many moons ago. So awesome call up for him. Definitely one to look out for, and should probably be a presence in All White squads for the next 15 years at least. Hopefully a good year at the Knicks. I think he'll be expecting to start most games. They haven't really brought in any. They've brought in a couple of wingers, but I think that ability and potential was there. I don't think he's going to lose his spot.
Got to play him, right?
You got to play him because I think he can clearly play it now. He's so young, he can still play in this year's Under-17 World Cup. So it's a bit ridiculous. And we'll wait to see if we can see him at the U20 World Cup, although that's only in like a couple of weeks away, so maybe we won't. But we'll see what happens.
True.
But awesome to see if he can maybe get on the field. And also on the Socceroo side of things, Nestorio and Kunda tearing it up at Watford, 2 free kick goals in the space of less than a week.
Tough.
Insane. In England and at 19 years old. As we move on,
I'm going to move on to something different. I'm going to call an audible.
Oh, God.
Because I think it makes sense to have what we have next last. So I'm going to move on to the Breakers, who have played in the ANBL, the Australian National Basketball League Blitz, pre-season Blitz tournament, and actually ended up winning it. Oh. So they beat the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix in the first game, 109-101. Then they beat the Taipans in the last game, 94-75. And in the the MVP of the Blitz tournament is actually the trophy's name, the MVP's name, is named after, people will know, CJ Burton, his dad. It's named after his dad. And Isaiah Brockington, who is one of our new imports at the Breakers, ended up winning it and played very well in both of those games. So looking like the Breakers could be very good this year. We'll see on September the 19th with their first game at Spark Arena, and I think it's against the Taipans as well.
Saying his name has brought back so many memories, CJ Burton. It's also making me feel like, did I need to touch on a point which is very dear to my heart, which I've already talked about on this podcast?
What is that?
Because the NBL clearly haven't watched the podcast and haven't,
you're talking about that.
and haven't looked at how stupid their teams are. I don't need to say what I said last time. I know people, when they see me, I'm like, I still watch the clip when you lose your shit over the NBL teams, and I still feel the same. Like, I'm so upset that you didn't force Melbourne to rebrand. I'm so upset that you just didn't come up with some better names and didn't bring back the Townsville Crocs. I had one wish. The one thing I put on my birthday wish list was the Townsville Crocodiles to return. They're not here, are they? Fucking...
You know I'm clipping that again, eh?
I don't give a shit. It's what brings in the views, Dylan. Bring back the Crocs, bring back the Razorbacks, bring back the Cannons and all the other teams I've forgotten about. The Tigers.
The Gold Coast Blaze.
Gold Coast Blaze. Melbourne Tigers. Do I need to say it again? Do I need to say it again?
I think we're good. Good.
What's so united about your city when you have two fucking teams in it? Just call yourself the Tigers. Jeez.
I'm so clipping this again. But speaking of bringing it back, one thing that needs to be brought back is some All Blacks wins. And to end off the Aotearoa local sport, we're going to preview the All Blacks South Africa game that's going to be at Eden Park. It's going to be huge. We're going to be there.
This
so
Saturday.
If you're watching this, if you see us, please come up and say hi to us.
Well, Stanley and Amy will. So
there you go.
The two listeners of this podcast. Thanks. And Liam. Liam will be there. The 3 listeners of this podcast.
There you go.
Will be there.
There you go. Now, what I'm going to start with, and I do have to commend the All Blacks and the New Zealand Rugby Union for this, is they came out with a post. I'm just going to double check. It was today. It was mainly about the fact that Te Mohi Tavatavanawa is pretty much out for the. They say the remainder of the Rugby Championship. I think he's pretty much out for the rest of the season.
I did the math, and I'm like, he's not going to play any other games this year.
Yeah. So, which is unfortunate, but the All Blacks were very transparent with us and gave us this whole updated list of people's injuries, when they're going to come back, games they're available for. It's awesome. So I'm pretty much going to read it off here just to give people context for the preview of this game. So first thing, good news, Anton Leonard-Brown and especially for me, Tyrell Lomax have both recovered from injury and have rejoined the squad in Auckland. Tyrell Lomax, huge. We're going to need all the scrum help we can get because we know South Africa's going to have a good scrum, even though, yes, I know they lost to Australia, but I have a feeling the reason they did is because Australia played a quite open game that they could not keep up with. The All Blacks are going to have to do the same.
Please.
So, anyway, let's go through the injuries. So Patrick Tuipulotu, he has had surgery for a facial fracture. He is estimated to return to play in a month, so 4 weeks.
So I will, what I'll do is that once you say that, I can say the estimated game they come back just to make it easier.
Sweet, go for it.
So we should hopefully be able to see Tuipulotu for the second Australia test on October 5th.
Which we will need. Luke Jacobson did play NPC following a thigh injury. He is available for the second South Africa test. Yep. So we can take care of the game there. Cam Roigard did have a stress fracture in his right foot. He is estimated to play in 3 to 4 weeks. So Simon are pretty much the same as Patrick.
Yes. I think that's...
First, second Australia tests?
The Roigard may be back for the first Australia test on September 27th.
Yep. And then the guy I just spoke about, Te Mohi Tavatavanawa, will require surgery for a fractured radius, which did happen in the NPC game that he played. He is out for 12 weeks. So that, if I do my maths right...
The day after our last Northern Tour game.
Yeah, so that's 3 months.
Yeah.
That's tough. And once again, I hope we don't, like Peter Gasol-Kula, don't do him dirty next year. Caleb Clark did play for Auckland, scored a try, as we have mentioned before. Following an ankle injury. He'll be available for the second South Africa test, which I kind of wish he was available for the first because we need help under the high ball, which we will talk about.
Yep.
And then Cortez Aratama continues to be assessed for availability for sustaining a rib fracture during the most recent test against Argentina. I won't lie to you, my dad has talked about breaking a rib, and I imagine a fracture feels the same. It's tough because it's hard to breathe.
Yeah.
So, remember that. You see a broken rib fracture, and you see people playing through it, just know they're superhuman because it is so hard to breathe when you have a broken rib.
And that's still being assessed, so we don't know when he's coming back, but I think it's all but confirmed he won't be available for this week's test.
Yeah. In terms of the rest of it that's on here, and I know you've got this on the sheet as well, but George Bauer, now that Tamaiti Williams is back, he is not in the squad.
Also, Noah Hotham may be back for the first Australia test as well.
Yes. Noah Hotham wasn't on this list, funny enough, but there you go. But yeah, so Tamaiti Williams has returned, which is awesome. We now have him and De Groot, and I think De Groot's played very well, so it'll be interesting to see who starts that South Africa test.
Yes.
but something we'll talk about. But George Bauer is out now that Williams is back. All the other injury cover players are there. Tavita Mafaleo, Josh Lord, Finlay Christie, Kyle Preston, and Leroy Carter, who I have a feeling we might actually see. And then also joining the squad in Auckland as training cover for the week is lock Sam Darry, which we've been asking for, not just because he's a Blues player, and also a guy that I actually thought impressed as the backup for the Waikato Chiefs, for the Chiefs in Super Rugby as a backup halfback, Xavier Rowe, who happens to be our sixth choice halfback, even though I think it should be Folau Fakatava, but that is an update on that. So All Blacks, thank you very much for that update. That's an excellent update. But thank you for being transparent with us, except for Noah Hotham.
You're forgetting the second update of the day.
Yes.
That Lester Whainonu has been added to the squad, which has shocked a lot of people because I think most people didn't realise he could be picked. I think we all thought he'd be available in October.
Yeah.
Apparently not. Apparently he's ready in the injury cover. I assume that will be elevated to main status when it's legally allowed. Could we see him this weekend against South Africa? I think it might be likely.
Yes.
But we will see. There's a lot of possibilities here. Also, who start. Finlay Christie's your only All Black in the squad with a test appearance to his name. He's probably starting.
Halfback,
Is it Preston or Rowe behind him? You'd probably guess it's Preston. It could be Rowe, but we'll see. Sam Darry back in the squad. Super deserved. Was unfortunate to miss the whole season. Super Rugby with injury. Has performed like an absolute
extremely
beast
well
in
for
NPC. Basically how you would expect a top All Black to play in NPC.
Yes.
And he's playing probably better than that. So
I think 2 man of the matches already, and they've played 3 games. So.
Yeah, I'd take him over Josh Lord in a heartbeat in the All Black squad. No offense to Josh Lord, but I think Darry's just he's a better player. And hopefully we do see more of him. Imagine him with Fabian Holland in a couple of years. Oh my
goodness.
days.
And they're big too.
They're both big guys.
Now, there's been some main points that have been going throughout this whole week in preview to this game. The first one I'm actually going to make has nothing to do with the All Blacks. Yes, the South Africa didn't play well against Australia. That is not the same when they play the All Blacks. No. And I'm just going to throw the stats out here because I have to. 50 games unbeaten at Eden Park. We haven't lost there for 30 years.
Yeah.
A big part of me wanting to go to this game and paying the money for the ticket to go to this game and paying for my dad's ticket as well is because we're going to witness history in some form. Either this streak is going to continue or it is not. And I think this is the biggest threat to it, I would argue, in those 30 years.
I find it quite surprising a little bit how we're holding on to this streak now because obviously it's been a thing for 30 years.
Yes.
But people are getting very, very stressed over it. And I'm like,
yes.
I understand it because it's a great record to have, but at the end of the day, it is just a streak.
Yeah, true.
I would happily lose this game if it means we win the World Cup in 2 years.
Yes, agreed.
I think an irrational person would say that. But I do understand that it is a big deal when you lose at Eden Park. Obviously, it hasn't happened in 30 years. There's been a lot of performances where we've had to kind of light the flame at the last minute and win it or hold on despite the fact we're barely doing it, like at the 2011 World Cup. But look, obviously I'll be upset if we lose the streak as well. I'm not saying it doesn't mean anything. It clearly does. But I think it's going to be a great game. Hopefully,
it's going to be an excellent game.
South Africa can name a decent squad as well. I know they're also dealing with injury issues, although most of their guys did travel over for it.
The big one for them, Sia Khaleesi is out for these 2 games.
Although he did travel, so he
did travel.
He might be fit for one of them. Who knows?
Okay.
I think most of the big names did come in anyway, just because.
Oh, it's the All Blacks. They're going to.
Oh, exactly. They want to make sure everyone's there, and maybe someone gets fit in time. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we need to obviously take into consideration because the streak, although I kind of just downplayed it a little bit, it is still very important to the All Blacks.
Yeah.
You don't want to let that down because you will let down a lot of people if you lose that streak, even if you're the best team in the world.
Yeah.
Which technically, if you look at the world rankings, the All Blacks are. Obviously, everyone will have a different opinion. I wouldn't call us the best team in the world. In fact, I wouldn't call any team the best team in the world because I don't think there's a consensus, in my opinion.
No, not at the moment. Which is a big reason why, and we've said this before on this, but the world has caught up when it comes to rugby.
But I think if we finish the rest of the season without losing a game, I think we'd be in a much better position to call us the best team in the world.
Yes.
Because that means we would have been in South Africa twice, Australia twice, and basically done a Grand Slam. Although the Ireland games in Chicago, I think I'm still going to call it a Grand Slam if we win it because it's overseas. It will be almost an Ireland home game. So, but the actual game itself.
Yeah. So we could talk here for hours.
Oh, we
just
could. And I
just
don't,
on
and
this
I don't
game.
want to.
So what we're going to do is look. There's been two big points
Yep.
that have come out this week that we're going to discuss. Both, of course, to do with the back line, which was not very good in the last game against Argentina.
No.
So those 2 points being our midfield, which did somewhat, I would say, get exposed against Argentina in the last game, and somewhat the first game, and of course our wingers, and I would add our high ball to that, because I think our wingers are a big part of that.
I think the high ball's the biggest issue, one of the biggest issues we have, if not the biggest, because it was
it's the biggest issue.
It was completely exposed against Argentina.
Yes.
It will be exposed against South Africa if we're not careful.
Yeah.
And we need to make sure that we have players there who can catch the high ball. We will do a better job of catching the high ball.
Which is why it's so unfortunate that Caleb Clark's not available for this test.
I'd like to think they're pulling sneaky on us, and he does get named anyway. I wish. But I look, we'll see what we decide to do, whether it's naming a more taller backline or just trying to see hope players do fix it themselves, which you can't always rely on that. But we need to fix it. I don't really know how, apart from training how to catch a fucking high ball, or naming more people on the team who can catch a high ball.
Yes.
It's a very difficult thing to, to fix in a hurry. It's something you should be naturally good at, especially when you have teams who dominate teams doing that.
And there's more and more teams, especially South Africa and those big Northern Hemisphere teams, that have gone to that style of play. I actually think to combat the All Blacks, which is just how life works.
Yeah.
When you're the best team in the world, so we need to learn how to catch a high ball ASAP.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, yes, we can train it, but that does not happen in a week.
No,
2
it
weeks.
doesn't happen in 2 weeks, which is unfortunate because I wish it could. And
yeah.
and back on the midfield, I think we just have to try and find that right combination still. I know Razor seems pretty set on both Geordie and Billy.
Proctor.
But, this has been talked about by some people. When you put Billy in at 13, you lose Rieko Ioane's defensive contributions at 13.
Yes.
You're putting him on the wing, you're somewhat removing some lethal try-scoring instincts from another winger.
Yes.
You're not really changing the high ball unless he's directly replacing Caleb, which if Caleb is fit, I don't think he is. So I think, honestly, we could see a change on the wing or at the centre, but with Lester Whainaunuku part of injury cover, I don't think Razor will hesitate at all to throw him in if he thinks he's ready, whether it's 13, whether it's 11. I think he's a pretty tall guy, so under the high ball, he might actually be an improvement.
He's tall, but I don't actually think he's not. But
as long as he's not terrible under the high ball.
Yeah.
He's not a Caleb Clark level high ball player, but I think he is...
Or Will Jordan level high ball player.
No, but I think he's probably maybe at or above the level of, on his day, Rieko Ioane.
Yes.
And he has the height advantage over Sevu Reece.
Yes.
And he will be better under the high ball, I hope, than Leroy Carter.
But, look.
And also, Imani Narawa is available as well.
I'm going to be this guy. And I've said this before. I make no bones about what I say, about players. It's never personal. It's about on the field. It'll never be, But I've never rated Leicester. To be honest, I think that, and even as an All Black, yes, he played he scored a try against Ireland in 2023 World Cup on the wing. He played solidly against Namibia. But very one-dimensional. And I know people aren't going to want to hear that, because anytime you hear a player coming back over, we heard it with Richie Mo'unga, who's coming back, October 26th?
Yeah.
So when I hear that, I'm going, man, yes, he's a great player. Man, he can run that ball. And he's a hard hit-up guy, which, honestly, we do need at midfield. So if we see him, which I kind of would rather have somebody that's hard-hitting at 12 and have Geordie Barrett at 13, which I'm just saying, I've been saying this for the last however many months, I think that could be a better combo. Not Leicester there, but a hard-hitting 12 that can defend, which is really, really hard to find, which is what Ma'anonu did when he was playing. But at the same time, if it is Leicester, I wouldn't mind that. I just think he's quite one-dimensional.
But also, I think we haven't really seen him play in 2 years, and he spent 2 years in the best league in the world, where he probably couldn't afford to be one-dimensional because he was on one of the best teams. So I think that's probably improved.
Yes and no. Yes and no. But look, if he's going to play, I think you've got to put him in the centres. That's where he was playing in France, and that's where he played very well.
Unless you're dead set on trying to keep that Geordie-Billy partnership and you want a different option on the wing, I get that.
Yes.
But I think long-term you need to consider him as a centre and not a winger, because we've got plenty of other young wingers coming up.
Agreed. That can catch a high ball.
Yep. So, look, I'm not mad if Leicester is named in the squad, even if it's at the 23. I wouldn't be surprised if he was named at 23.
I wouldn't be surprised either.
Because with Tafatavanawe out, with Razor not seeming to fully trust Tupaia, although Leonard Brown could leapfrog, and Leonard Brown could be in the centres for this game, which I don't know if I fully agree with that. But look, we'll see what happens. We'll see what teams name.
I think you could fully see, and you need him defensively there.
Yeah.
Because that's what the big problem is, right, in the midfield. To me, I don't think it's necessarily with the ball. I think just how rugby is played now, it's very hard to get space in the midfield. You watch teams struggle now because, they can't get any movement in the midfield just because that's how rugby is played now. But in saying that, the big thing for me is defense. And if that's the big thing, your best centre defensively is playing out on the wing, I think you might have to move him back in there because you need that defensively there.
I think that's probably a good call, and that's where I think you'd maybe argue that for this test, because Caleb Clark's not available, you could have Leicester play on the left. And I don't think that's the worst case scenario in that case. Because I feel like...
I'll tell you what, there's a lot of people that'll be hearing us now going like, why not try Leroy Carter out there?
I would love to.
2 words, high ball.
Yeah, I'd love to, but I think the high ball, because that's what was one of the reasons why the Chiefs were killed in that playoff game against the Blues, because we kept on kicking high balls at Leroy Carter and he didn't know what to do, unfortunately. Yeah. Great player, brilliant try scorer, but it's,
The only way I could see Leroy Carter playing is if Will Jordan's on the other side.
Or if Will Jordan's at fullback and Caleb Clark's on the other side.
Yes, yeah.
You have 2 other capable high ball catchers in the back line. Yeah. You have a guy like Leroy Carter who can just,
Which, once again, this is a name...
I'd love to see it.
I'm surprised Shea Fihaki is not a name that Scott Razor's called back up to the squad.
Maybe if Leicester wasn't available, we would have seen Shea instead.
We may have.
But also Shea never actually played for the All Blacks. He was just injury cover.
Yes,
but
true.
He was still injury covered.
Exactly.
That's still something to keep in mind.
Exactly.
I think long term we might see him, but again, there's other taller guys in the same vein who might get the nod earlier, like Carrington Maifalo when he's eligible, and also Macca Springer when he's had a couple of runs. Well, unless you have anything else,
I'm just trying to think because I've got here. What do we need to do to win? I think we need much better defense. 1,
we need to be more disciplined.
We need to be more disciplined.
Catch
2,
a high ball and be more disciplined.
Yep.
I think defense
wise, I
think defense will come with both of those things.
And I will say this: yes, we haven't mentioned the forwards. That's because I can't speak for you, of course.
Yeah.
But I think our forwards have played extremely well, I think our forwards can match up with the great South African.
I think
forwards.
they can. I think our forward pack's been probably the best part about the All Blacks this year so far.
Yes.
Like I wouldn't say the forward pack as a whole has had a bad day. I'd say maybe some loose forwards have had a bad day at some point. Yeah. But I wouldn't say they've underperformed this year.
And the big thing, and I've been saying this I would say the last 2 years we've played South Africa, we need to play our game.
Yeah.
We keep getting caught in playing their game, playing close games. And it doesn't mean we can't win close games. No. But those scrappy games, South Africa's always going to have that advantage. That's how they play. We need to play our game. We need to catch a high ball. We need to stay disciplined. We need our forward pack to continue to be that, and our forwards off the bench too, who have been amazing.
Yeah.
And we need our back line. We're going to have to sort some stuff out. I don't think it gets sorted in this game, unfortunately, but I just need it to be sorted enough for us to win. And I'm sure I can speak for you when I say this. Can't wait to go to this game, man.
I can't wait. It'll be great. I just hope we don't get stuck with some vuvuzelas behind us because, from personal experience, it sucks.
Yes, it does. So, and it is sold out, so high chance.
Yeah, it is a high chance. But also, just generic rugby news with Whakatava not getting this call-up. A lot of people pointing out that next year he is Tonga eligible. So we might see Folau Whakatava repping Tonga heading into the next World Cup. And also, someone did some digging today and figured out that Ricky Riccatelli has an American father.
Yes.
And the fact that he has now moved to Clermont in France means he could probably be selected by the US rugby team when he's not been shackled by Clermont. So we could see him at the World Cup if the US qualify, because they haven't had a great PNC to start, which we're not going to cover today because there's a lot of other stuff.
Yes.
But we'll move on to the international sports, and I'm going to probably whiz through all of this before we get to the final thing, which we will talk about. But the F1 is back after the summer break. Dutch Grand Prix qualifying, pretty standard. Piastri pole, Norris second, Verstappen third. Hadjar on fourth and Liam Lawson in eighth, just behind both Ferraris. But the race itself, Oscar Piastri takes another win. Verstappen gets second, and Isaac Hadjar gets his first ever podium at third. And then you have Alex Albon going from 15th to 5th. Behrman jumps up to 6th. Stroll goes from 20th to 7th. Sonoda 9th. And Lawson drops down to 12th. DNFs for Norris and both Ferraris. So not a good day in the office.
RJ's going to be pissed. Friend of the show, RJ.
Yeah, because he's a Ferrari guy.
He's a Ferrari guy. He's going to be pissed.
I'm so sorry for you, man. You picked the wrong team.
He's going to be pissed.
But moving on from the F1, I forgot when the next Grand Prix is, but it's somewhere. It might be Baku. I could be wrong.
No, I think it's Italy.
Oh, it'll be the other Italy one, the one we haven't had yet.
Yeah. Keep going. I'm going to double check this.
That's all good.
Because
we'll move on to the third match week of the English Premier League.
Yes, sir.
Football. Chelsea, decent win over Fulham 2-0. Manchester United needed a very late goal to beat Burnley 3-2, their first win of the season. Sunderland, another win for the newly promoted side over Brentford, this time 2-1. Spurs, I didn't actually see it, but lose at home to Bournemouth 1-0. Life comes at you quick. Everton, away at Wolves, a big win for them.
I have got the answer for the F1. It actually happens this coming weekend.
Oh, yeah.
And it's the Pirelli. It's the Pirelli Grand Prix, not the Monza.
Yeah.
There you go.
But moving on, Everton, good win for them away at Wolves 3-2. Jack Grealish really coming into his own there.
Looking so good.
He's looking brilliant. Newcastle still haven't won a game. Now away to Leeds 0-0. Brighton, big win for them at home against Manchester City. 2-1.
James Milner.
Nottingham Forest, what are you doing? Lose 3-0 at home to West Ham. Although I can't complain because my best performing fantasy player was West Ham defender Juve, who I was going to transfer out, but I didn't. And thank God I didn't. Liverpool, narrow win over Arsenal, 1-0. Great goal from Dominic Szoboszlai from a free kick.
At right back looks mean.
Which is crazy because he was never a right back before recently.
No.
He was always the attacking mid. And then the last game of the match week, Crystal Palace, big win over Aston Villa, who still haven't done anything so far. 3-0 win for them. Due to international break, the next Premier League match week does not start until 11:30 p.m. on Saturday, the 13th of September. So we will preview those games when we're a week away. To the rest of Europe, Real Madrid and Bilbao both won their first 3 games.
Come on, the boys.
To start the La Liga season. Villarreal, Barcelona, and Espanyol have won 2 and drawn 1 each. In Serie A, Napoli, Juve, Cremonese, who are about to sign Jamie Vardy, and Roma have won their first 2 games. In the Bundesliga, Bayern, Eintracht Frankfurt, and Cologne have won their first 2 games, and PSG and Lyon have won their first 3 games in Ligue 1 season as well. PSG started the season with 2 1-0 wins, having a 6-3 win over Toulouse, which saw João Neves score a hat-trick, including 2 bicycle kicks back-to-back.
Tough.
Nuts.
Tough.
And the UEFA club competition draws have been done. PSG have been dealt a pretty tough league draw. Bayern, Atalanta, Spurs, and Newcastle at home, and Barcelona, Leverkusen, Sporting CP, and Bilbao away from home.
Come on, my boys, the Leverkusen.
And shout out to Kazakhstan's Kairat Almaty. They get to host Real Madrid in Almaty, which is less than 1,000 k's away from the Chinese border, and is more eastern than the entire country of Pakistan.
Wow.
Real Madrid, what an away day for you. But also, they get to go to Sporting Club de Portugal, and it will be the longest journey anyone has ever taken, any team has ever taken for a Champions League game, which is nuts. They also get to travel to Inter and Arsenal, and Paphos from Cyprus get to host Bayern and travel to Chelsea and Juventus. Nothing on note for the other comps except Forest's draw for Chris Wood in the Europa League. They get to host Porto from Portugal, Varos from Hungary, Midtjylland from Denmark, and Malmö Malmo from Sweden. And away to Real Betis in Spain, Braga in Portugal, Sturm Graz in Austria, and Utrecht in the Netherlands. An international break. UEFA World Cup qualifiers resume on Friday morning. It will be the first games for teams in groups A to F, or the 4-team groups. The African World Cup qualifiers also resume on Friday. Senegal, Nigeria, and Cameroon are all currently in danger of missing out. And then CONCACAF's third round also kicks off. Might be fourth. I don't know.
Yes, sir.
To the transfers, and Alexander Isak.
It's over, bro.
To Liverpool.
Over.
Apparently has been here we go by Fabrizio Romano for £130 million. A Premier League record £130 million fee. Nuts. That's going to be an insane attack, and Liverpool also highly linked to Mark Goy of Crystal Palace.
If they end up getting both, I've been saying this since we started talking about this new Prem season.
Oh yeah,
it's over.
Oh yeah, it'll be over. They've already, they've won their first 3 games of the season, so they'll keep going. Newcastle have replaced Isak already with Stuttgart's 6'6" striker Nick Woltemade. He's a German international now.
Woltemade.
And he's also played as a second striker, so I think he'll be a really interesting prospect in the Prem. Ebi Martinez of Aston Villa, heavily linked with Manchester United, with Villa now wanting to sign Sen Lamens, who was linked to United before this. Nicholas Jackson was going to move to Bayern, and then Bayern called off the deal, so that was a bit surprising. Chelsea have signed Alejandro Garnacho, but are now linked with Fermin Lopez of Barcelona, and have signed going to sign Facundo Buonanotte on loan from Brighton. Spurs have signed Xavi Simons. That was a big twist to that story. And Arsenal are set to sign Piero Hincapié on an initial loan.
Hincapié from my boys.
By Leverkusen.
Great
as
defender.
We look to the other results of the Women's Rugby World Cup. Unfortunately, a couple of more blowouts, but not as many as last week, I feel. Starting off with a blowout, though, Canada beat Wales 42-0. Scotland beat Fiji 29-15. England 92-3 over Samoa. Australia and the US playing out an incredible 31-all draw. The end of that group will be very intriguing. Ireland beat Spain 43-27. That's next opponent, Ireland. Italy lose to South Africa. I think it was maybe their first World Cup win.
Yes,
I'm not sure.
Yes, I think it is.
But I think they'll maybe make the quarters, which is big for them. 29-24 over Italy, and then France beat Brazil 84-5.
And it was a big celebration for Brazil getting their first ever Rugby World Cup try.
Great for them. Great. I know there's at least one Kiwi Brazilian in that team as well.
Yes, there is.
I think there's probably quite a few. As we move on to basically today's segment, the WWE held a Clash in Paris this morning.
Let's go.
I was a bit confused yesterday morning when I woke up and I checked Twitter and there was no updates. And then I realized that it was actually
this morning.
Actually, today it was actually being held on the Sunday night in Paris, which I don't really do. So Clash in Paris happened, and
before we talk about any results, can I just say, France's crowds for the WWE are insanely awesome.
It's just all of Europe, and we're going to get more of it as they've confirmed the road to the Royal Rumble, which will be in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia next year, will be mostly in Europe, so they'll be back in a lot of places, doing a lot of shows in January.
That's going to be awesome.
They're doing way more often, because I think they're realizing they're doing very well crowd-wise.
Yes.
Everyone has a good time there. But as we started with the WWE Clash in Paris, Roman Reigns takes on a Bronson Reed. Basically, Bronson Reed, in true Australian fashion, aka Ishe fashion, took Roman Reigns' shoes.
Ishe, bruh.
And so, I know that sounds a bit ridiculous, but
welcome to wrestling.
From what I could tell, it was a good match between the two.
Yeah.
Bronson's a big unit. Roman's also a fairly big unit himself. He seems to really like working with him and with Bron Breakker. So I think he had a lot of fun with that. I always
forget, and I say this every week, I always forget, anytime I see Bronson Reed, I don't think he's Australian. I hear him talk.
I think he looks Australian because he just reminds me of some of the kids I used to go to school with. Just the big Islander kids. Like
fair.
He just looks like that. But obviously a win for Roman. We'll see what goes on from here because
Roman Reigns did get attacked after this match by the rest of the Vision.
Yeah, the Vision.
Yeah, which is was called what Seth Rollins is now called the group. But Jey Uso, family first, came to save him. So,
of course he did.
There you go. And he did get his shoes back.
Moving on, tag team title match. The Wyatt Six do defeat the Street Profits. Don't have much to say about this.
The SmackDown tag team division is popping off at the moment.
You have DIY, you have Fraxium, you have
Motor City Machine Guns.
Motor City Machine Guns, Pretty Deadly. You have Andrade and someone else. I forgot who.
Yeah, so did I, but it's fantastic. Ray Phoenix.
Oh, Ray Phoenix, that's right. It's nuts. It's nuts. And then in the women's Intercontinental title match, unfortunately, Nikki Bella goes down to Becky Lynch. So Becky Lynch retains, having quite a very in-your-face title run with this title. Hopefully, we get to see more of the woman she bet for that title, Lara Valkyria, because that elevated her so much.
Yeah,
and I'm very impressed by her as a wrestler. So I hope she gets more opportunities higher up the roster. And then we have an absolute banger, Sheamus versus Rusev, two big units who just have to beat the shit out of each other.
And the good old, was it Donnybrook match?
The good old Donnybrook match. This match from the clips I saw looked absolutely
insane
and awesome. I wish I saw this one live. Rusev getting the win. Glad to see him getting a little bit more of a push since he joined.
True.
And then John Cena versus Logan Paul. Thank God John Cena won this.
John Cena pulled out every single move that's not his in the book, though.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the beauty of now. The fact he's turned face again, and it's the last matches of his run. He can do that shit.
Like he hit Logan Paul with the Styles Clash.
I know, and I think he also hit him with Christopher Daniels' move as well.
Yes,
which you know, a bit of a throwback. And then in the finale, fatal four-way for the World Heavyweight title. Seth Rollins, the current champion, faces off against the man he hates to, of course, CM Punk, Jey Uso, and LA Knight. And this had a lot of it, but it did have an attack.
Yes.
Which cost CM Punk the win.
Because the Bronze were banned from ringside.
Yes, but they didn't stop.
Who?
The man.
Becky
Lynch. Don't know. Seth Rollins, Becky Lynch, a real life couple
with a daughter.
And she has joined forces with Seth and the Vision.
And I was telling you the entire time when she came back and turned heel, this was the reason why.
But also more importantly, she attacks CM Punk. Well, obviously because I think he was in the position to win the match. But I think that this is the setup for the return of CM Punk's wife, AJ Lee, to the WWE. I think now that's happened, I think it's more likely. I don't know if it will happen still. I think it still seems like a pretty far-fetched idea.
It is quite a far-fetched idea because she's been out of it for years.
But I think she'd still. I don't think she has that ring rust. I think she would be just as capable as she was. Can
I just say as well, if AJ Lee comes back, like there's been some major pops for people like Joe Hendry.
Oh, it would be huge.
People like I'm trying to think some other returns. I mean, CM Punk a couple of years
Alexa
ago.
Bliss at the Royal Rumble was deafening.
If trust me, if AJ Lee returns, it'll blow those pops out the window.
You won't be able to hear anything.
No.
So I don't know when that would happen. Does it happen at WrestlePalooza? In a couple of weeks' time, does it happen at Survivor Series? Does it happen at another event? Who knows?
I can't lie. If it's going to be big enough, I think it happens at Survivor Series.
True, and it would mirror when CM Punk returned.
Yes.
We'll see what happens because see how much of a part that Becky Lynch plays in the Vision and who she feuds with next because that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
But no,
I think if she does play some part in the Vision, I honestly think she's going to have to hold the women's world title.
Yeah, but I don't know how well.
But like, if you want to keep pushing this, so much,
you say that there is a vacant women's title at the moment, and there will be a match for it. Because there was supposed to be a Stephanie Vaquer match for the title on this card, which never happened. Because she was supposed to face Naomi. Naomi relinquished it out, and nothing happened. I didn't realize that they didn't follow that up.
That's what I'm saying.
So who knows what happened? There's been talks if Vaquer wins it, not Naomi, obviously. Roxanne Perez wins it, if someone else wins it, but maybe they pull a fast one and somehow Becky Lynch has two titles at once. I don't know, but it'll be interesting.
I also do think because I do think Bron and Bron are eventually going to win those tag titles. They've got to.
I think they have to. So
yeah. I think you're going to see pretty much. I would say what Triple H, aka WWE, will try and do, which is like this modern day evolution.
Yeah.
Along with Becky Lynch to go alongside it.
Yeah. And that makes sense to me.
Yes,
honestly.
that does.
But I'm interested to see how they continue it. And you know who gets brought into feud with who, and who, obviously more important, who John Cena faces on the remainder of his retirement tour. Like,
true, because he may have just teased them by using their moves. So we could see an AJ Styles.
I think we will.
Who I don't, or he won't face Christopher Daniels, but
he has retired.
Yes,
a lot of people want him to face Edge one last time, and I'd love for some type of deal to be brokered for it, but I don't think it will happen. I think the relationship between WWE and AEW isn't the greatest at the moment.
No.
Although if they did some form of trade, like a one-time appearance thing, I would think it'd be awesome if they let Edge come back for one match with John Cena.
Yeah.
And they let AJ Styles go on the other way to face Will Ospreay, but that won't happen anymore because Ospreay's going under neck surgery. I don't think he'll be fit for a while.
True.
After AEW had a brilliant pay-per-view last week, Forbidden Door, had a lights-out steel cage match to end it all, which looked like a lot of fun to rule out Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland for a little bit so they can go and recover.
Was it also Kenny Omega and Hangman Page, was it?
So Hangman Page faced MJF earlier in the night.
Yes.
And then Kenny Omega was in that match alongside Darby Allin, Kota Ibushi, who was his tag partner in Japan, one of his wrestling icons, and with Will Ospreay. And maybe if they had Swerve, they also had a Japanese legend who's also on a retirement tour in Hiroshi Tanahashi.
Yes.
And then on the other side, you had the Death Riders with Gabe Kidd and the Young Bucks, who they playing a thing with them at the moment. They lost their executive vice president privileges at All In, and it means that they're just taking the shit out of them. So they don't give them intro music, they don't give them
oh my god,
pyro, they don't play any music, they put the wrong names up on the screen, they don't open the doors to the entrance
actually sounds pretty funny.
And the funniest thing is
I need to watch some more AEW.
The song they played, they wanted to go back to their old music because they weren't playing the old music. So the AEW production staff took that as their oldest theme song, which was Bop by Hanson. So that was being played at the O2, and it was quite funny. And then they fought later in the match. They were getting a bag of thumbsticks, and they put it out. Thumbtacks, and they were pouring it out onto the ring. It was gummy bears. And
I need to watch some more AEW,
I think it was Kenny Omega grabbed a whole bunch of them and forced them in one of the Young Bucks' mouth. And then he gets tackled, and they just go poof.
Oh, that's
it was brilliant from what I saw.
And can I just say, because I learned this, when you see thumbtacks on a wrestling ring, they are real.
Yeah.
They are real thumbtacks. They are just made by production in a way that doesn't hurt as much.
It's the same with the barbed wire. In most cases, although I think in some of those indie hardcore promotions, they probably did use real barbed wire.
Thank God we're not out there wrestling.
No, thank God I'm not in CZW or the other promotions.
Big facts.
FMW in Japan. Oh,
Big
God.
facts. I'm going to need to watch some more AEW though.
Well, yeah,
that sounds great.
I just need them to do more pay-per-views which aren't on a Monday morning. But
yes, please.
Yes, but obviously you can. We can find a copy of it somewhere, and we can just watch it if you just come over to my house delayed.
Big facts. Might have to go over, but anyway, that's actually the end of of our podcast episode this week.
I'm happy with this because I want to go to bed early and I need an early dinner. So I'm happy with this.
Can I just say as well before we go, we do all of this to talk sport and have fun, but man, comment down, join in the conversation, start a conversation. Look, we don't want it to get rude. If it gets rude, it's getting gone.
Yeah, but
look, we're here to have a conversation, man. Start a conversation in the comments, whether it's about the All Blacks, whether it's about WWE, whether it's about gummy bears.
It's about anything to do with sport or anything me and Dylan would find interesting. Go on, check it down, have a conversation with someone, be nice.
Yeah, and with that being said, go follow us on all the stuff, CouchSide.network on TikTok and Insta, which I'm going to make sure, because I know this guy makes some great freaking TikTok videos. I am going to be making sure that we get footage at the All Black South Africa game.
Oh, great.
I am going to make sure, and I'm putting that out there now, so I know that you're doing it.
Cool. So we might get to see some guest appearances from some of our biggest listeners of the show, because they'll be there. We also got to figure out what we're doing before the show, but we'll talk about that off camera.
That's a good point.
We're not going to give out all our details about our personal lives here.
Yeah, or maybe a guest appearance from my dad. So there you go. With that being said as well, I am, besides going to the All Blacks game, I'm going to put myself, I'm away this weekend. So our next episode won't be this coming Monday. It'll actually be this coming Friday.
It'll be later in the week. We'll figure out when exactly. But we feel like even if it's just us talking about what happened at the All Blacks game, because we don't know what's happening throughout the week. I might have something on that Friday. I don't know. But we'll figure it out.
We'll try and update it the best we can.
Even if it's a very crudely recorded video of one of us just giving our thoughts. We'll figure it out. But once again, thank you very much for staying to the end of the podcast. I've been Simon and Dylan. CouchSide Sports Report, proudly sponsored by no one. If you want to sponsor the show, do get in touch with us. We're only an Insta DM away.
Yes.
And until next time, Dylan, do you want to send us off like always?
Let's go. CouchSide out.
CouchSide out.